them to introduce themselves. I'm not going to introduce anybody, but if you don't introduce yourself completely, I'm going to have to actually have classified information on everybody on this call, and I'm going to be releasing them.
Of course, it is complete, so we can just say masters.
I will be the judge of that. All right. So I'm going to start. I'm going to start from you.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Oluwadun Singh Adebayo. I am a lawyer, writer, and I currently work as a public policy consultant. Thank you.
I think that sounds.
It's complete.
Okay. All right. Go on.
Oh, you already said my name, so I was like, okay. Hi guys, my name is Kofo Orola Toriola. I'm a lawyer, a writer as well. I think a podcaster when adults would allow. Yes, I think I did justice.
Okay, and of course, I don't want to mention your name, so.
Yes, thank you. My name is Ayodele Ashiata Kadiri. I'm a lawyer. I'm a senior associate at JLIS, and then I'm also the first of all how to plug the word from his business. And I'm also the author of the memoir titled The First 5 Years for Booksmart to Streetwise.
That deserves a round of applause. I'm sure everyone is anticipating the release of the book. Yeah, so I'm Charles Adekunle. I practice law here in Lagos.
Wow, that's your response, but like necessarily.
Any jurisdiction we are available. All right, so I work at Babalaki & Co. as a senior associate, and I'm not an author of anything.
Not of life.
They publish legal articles. Of course, adulthood allows me to. Okay, today we are having a conversation about how to navigate the first 5 years of your professional career. Everybody here started somewhere, and of course I should quickly add that we were all at the law school together in 2016.
We have gang. I'm like that campus.
The best campus. Like if you attended law school in Abuja, you can just put it in the comment. Just say like, sure. A lawyer, I attended law school in Abuja, because I'm sure there are non-lawyers on this call. So of course I am not apologizing for the fact that we have only lawyers on the call. I'm sure, but the principles, the nugget, the teach will be dropping are applicable. Whether you're a lawyer, whether if you're an entrepreneur, I'm sure you can pick one or two things away from what we'll be sharing today. Basically, we're just going to be discussing, looking back, in order to plan ahead.
That's not like a politician. You know, looking back so we can plan ahead.
And on that, maybe you should be watching out for 2027, right?
You
never can tell. Okay, so I'm going to be starting by asking you ladies. Well, yeah, ladies and a gentleman. I'm going to be asking you ladies to walk me through, your professional development. How did you get it? I know we were all in law school in Abuja, and then we were cut to the bar. Was it on the same day? I was on 29th.
I was certificate carries the same.
Yeah, but I was definitely the best candidate student of the law school for the year 2016.
Thank you.
We all know where she was called. All right. So walk me from that day at the culture bar ceremony to where you are today. Like, how has it been?
That's it. That's
more than 5 years.
That's it. Booking it out.
Now, I'm not asking you to write another book. Like, of course, we are pressed for time, but just walk me through it. So before you go first.
Wow. I never have heard anything. So you know how we all, that's a bit presumptuous, but I believe our kids, the way you're finishing from law school, there's this whole, I want to work in one of the top tier law firms. That was everyone's goals and ambition. And, true to that goal and ambition, I think I was sort of on that path, right? That had, immediately we finished law school, even before results came out, I started shooting applications here and there to all the top law firms. And I think I got feedback from one of the, let's say, top law firms in Nigeria. And I thought, life is good and nothing could go wrong. Little did I know that life happened and NYSC happened. That's when I think I was settled when it set ahead of us was when it started the whole stream 1 and stream 2. So we got caught up in that NYSC being confused and do the stream 1 and 2. So that's what I were in stream 2. I don't think we're that lucky.
We're here.
You're in stream 2.
Stream 2.
So I think that really, you're also in stream 2 very well, but
I like to believe that I was as well.
I think you were as well. Interesting, all right. I think we all have a lot of things together. Life happened, things did not go as planned, and I had to wake up. Essentially, all that word is saying now. The day you wake up, your money starts. The day that when I woke up, my night, so every morning for me, because like I moved from being sure, being certain of where I wanted to go, where I wanted to work, to being clueless, because being stream 2 practically meant that the spaces and opportunity available were very minimal. Like, and just to put it out there, my start was quite rough. As a lawyer or in legal profession, it was very, 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 very rough. So I remember that when I realized that, first of all, I was in stream 2, things are going to happen. I remember immediately how I printed copies of my CV. Again, I finished 2-1-2-1. We're not all BGS, but if now it's not bad. And I remember going to Oberlin, and I went law firm to law firm, knocking at the door. Like, like Babiela, help me up. And everyone was like, oh, they'd really love to, but no space. It was bad. So because of that, I think my life got sort of redirected, and I set out my career interestingly in-house.
Okay.
And I set out in a law firm. I'm currently working in law firm, but I set out my career in-house. Should we share nuggets on the way?
Please feel free.
Okay.
There's not going to be any section dedicated to
nuggets sharing. Okay, I said in-house, and one thing I'll tell anyone starting out in the legal profession, I think I won't say worst, but that's not a good way to start out your career, right, in-house, as an in-house lawyer, because I believe that law firm gives you an opportunity that an in-house practice would not give you at that, rudimentary stage. You are learning. In-house, so I said in-house in a specialized industry. Actually, that's a caveat, in a specialized industry. So, for instance, if I was working in-house in banking or capital markets, it means almost everything I'll be doing will be streamlined to capital markets. But imagine I was starting out in a law firm that does a lot of practice, and I have the opportunity to practice across different practice areas. I'm in a better position. So I think after I spent about 15 months there, and I quickly realized that I had a lot to learn. So when conversing with my mates, they'll be humble, like, I don't know Jack. So it was, what's it called? When I was working, it was very prestigious. So I had that prestige that, I work in this place. But that was about it. Knowledge-wise, I knew that I was tanking. Like, there was really nothing there. So I made a quick decision to transition to a law firm. It wasn't easy. I'll be lying if I said moving was, because it meant, transitioning at that time meant that I would have been so if I was transitioning to where my friends had done their NYSC, I couldn't be on the same level, because truthfully speaking, they had gone, in the space of 1 year, they had gone far. So I took that painful decision, and I went back a step, like, okay, I didn't mind. I was looking at the future in mind, just taking this temporary step back so that I can catch up or even overtake. So I did that, and I always say till tomorrow that was the best decision I made for my career at that time. And so I think I will not say it was smooth sailing after that, but that sort of helped, and up to where I am today. So I think, in quotes, the nugget to be as much as possible. I know that we don't direct our lives. I know life happened to me, but try and start out your career in a law firm. It doesn't have to be the big guys. That's another mistake I know a lot of people make. So currently I work in one. I started not introducing in the beginning. I rather not mention. I think one mistake I found with people is, and I think I made that mistake, was I was in a hurry to. I'm not to only do the top law firms. If I had known, I would have been humble enough to apply to the smaller ones that were still doing good work. And what I found over the years is, no matter where you're starting from, the most important thing is do good work. Yeah. Show yourself approved. After a while, the big guys that you're chasing after you. So that's been my years.
Wherever you find yourself, do good work, show yourself approved, and the You guys are chasing after.
We just after you, and it's sweet, trust me. When you feel
Well done, yeah, community. All right. Hi, Adele. From best writing student at the law school to senior associate at JLIS, authoring a fantastic book which I have read. Of course, before it's officially out, So, can you walk us through that? How was it? The struggles along the way. I don't just want to hear the success stories because everybody they know, of course, they see everything on the flyers for senior associates and that. But what's the process like?
Okay, I think for me, I really just want to pick it from. So let me give you a caveat that this where I currently work is where I've worked. I don't have another experience outside of, JLS. I think I should put that out there. And then I think the second thing is that one thing, what I like to say about my career path is that we live in a particular time where people just expect you to have things figured out. Like, let me just say, like, people just expect that you should have clarity on what you want to do. And so you see, when you go on LinkedIn, when you see people, with your people, they tell you, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to do that. I think I want to start my career talking about how I didn't have all of that in my own. And I remember at my first interview, when I can never forget my first interview because I went for the interview and they were like, so where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? I was like, what are you talking about? Like, what do you mean next 5 years? What's going on in the next 5 years? And the thing I said in that interview was, I just want to learn. I really don't know what this legal practice is. And I think the thing to add is that I didn't grow up thinking that I wanted to become a lawyer or something. And I didn't have any of this, maybe I want to become a lawyer, I want to save the world, I want to do all these things. One thing, I went into ACHA just to prove a point that people that went to ACHA didn't necessarily have to restrict.
Same here.
People just said, well, go to science class, you're very good in maths, because I represent my school in cowbell. And cowbell competition was like
a big deal.
So it was just like, for me to represent my school as a cowbell, like at cowbell, even though I was in art class, I wasn't doing for that maths. It just told you that, I have something upstairs. So I really went to school at that time to prove a point. So now coming into practice and then having to mix with people that, they've read about the NFIME, they know the history of the profession, they know what's made millions, they know all these things. And, having my first interview as when 10 modules in 5 years, it didn't really work out for me that way. So I think it's just me coming out to say I didn't have any great plans, like maybe I didn't even think about it. When I finished law school, I applied to a magazine.
Wow.
That was like when I finished law school, because when I was in uni, I was the chief editor of Next Observer. That was the faculty magazine. So I said, while we're waiting for NYSC and everything, after law school, for results, I applied to the magazine because I thought I wanted to know how, this is what I did in school, but I want to see how it works in real life. So I was at Today's Woman with Adeswa in a quick. Nothing else was she paying me that time, 20K. Meanwhile, my friends at that time that were in Olani, because I know a lot of people in my set in uni like that, they already gotten into Olani as pre. I think they have like a pre-NYSC associate or something. So that period while we were waiting, some people had already gone for interviews, some people already submitted. I already had the reaction as I didn't do nothing. She was busy, just going from Today's Woman to her house, just. And my mentor had called me that time and said, you can't be doing this. So when my result came out and found out that I had the first class, he said, you can't do this. You know what? We collected all our CVs, myself, some of us do where that like 3 or 4 was wrote our CVs and, sent. So basically, even my CV, God, they did it for me. He literally just put up a list of firms that, okay, applied to all these firms. And I was just not in. I was not just in my I didn't really realize that, there was a whole life, like I'd taken a decision and this is the consequence of the decision I'd taken. It didn't occur to me that I was going to do all of those things. So things that started getting serious when everybody had gotten a place, everybody had gone for like 2 or 3 interviews. Because obviously I was late. I didn't apply any. So anything I was going to get was basically leftover or firms that had not taken a decision because they were waiting for results. So I went to my first interview then. And then the lady now, so the lady was even giving me a hint that, okay, like, you're not going to do your master's. I'm like, well done.
I sure.
But I really just want to learn. Like, I just want to know what it means to be a lawyer and figure out, I just learn and do it very well along the way. So I didn't have all that clarity, all that, I want to save the world, all that, everything. But by the time I got in, I was like, oh my goodness. I don't and so I think one thing for me, and I really talk about this in the book, was I had a lot of. Okay, so when I joined, I realized that okay, this thing is actually bigger than. And then one of the things that I really had to deal with, because when I joined, people don't know. People just see some things and they think that that's one thing I've learned, that try not to project your fears. Like two things can be mutually exclusive and be true. Like don't say things. Don't say things like, "Oh, so you had a first class." Doesn't mean that you make it in life. I knew I heard it a lot. I had people tell me that, like, or it just used to be the surface in conversation.
Let me just butt in there. Is that where the whole idea of from book smart to street?
Oh, that's where it came in, and it was a struggle I lived with it for a while. So because by the time we got into the family, we came in as a group, so I was the BGS. Like, so the first thing is that so I guess it was two ways. So first of all, people expected me to be smart. Some of the people also expected me not to be smart. They expect me to be smart because you're BGS, and they expect me not to be smart because that stereotype that because you're necessarily crammed all the rules in school doesn't mean that you're lying. And so when I now found out that there were people in my cohorts that were preferred by senior life because maybe they worked faster and everything, it was very difficult for me. I didn't know how to do it. I felt like I was walking. I felt like I was just basically just drowning. There were days when I started work, I used to close by 6. But later, some weekends, I was not available. Just felt like I was pouring everything. I was not getting anywhere. Nobody was saying, "No, I like your work." It was more complain. You said a legal opinion, comes back, you don't even see everything is red, like blood, still. You're like, what's this authority I cited? They taught us in class. You can't find it. Like, it was a struggle. And I'm like, God, I don't want it to be that. Is this how my life is going to be? This is literally how I will just be that, the only thing people saw me, so she was BGS and that's all. So that was really like just struggling. So it was just that struggle to, do this and do that. I just tried to tell people that, see, guys, I'm also smart. Like, I really know what I'm doing and everything. And finding out that, well, maybe this loyalty, like, the fact that these people in school doesn't mean that, like, people are not better than me. Having to be constantly compared, it was just really tough. So I think that was just leading my career. But like I said, I didn't move. I didn't, try to change. But it was just coming into the realization of these are my strengths and weaknesses as a person. Accepting it that okay, maybe I don't have a quick turnaround time. I struggle to pick up things very fast. So we have a meeting right now. 1 or 2 people in the room already knew what was going on. It may take me like another 2 hours or 3 hours to figure things out, and that's fine.
That was okay.
It's okay. It doesn't mean that I'm stupid. It's just that this is how this thing looks. So it was, for me, my career path has just been what I wanted to do, to just figure out what being a lawyer is and just settling down into it and just owning it and being kind to myself that, okay, maybe this is what people think, but it's fine. So I think that's really how
I like that part where you said being kind to yourself. I think many of us are not kind to ourselves, especially in our career, and that can play out that way.
Okay. Well, Dustin, I'm going to be asking the question with a different twist. Today, you're a public policy consultant. Have you always started up to be like that from law school? Like, you want to do my law behind? You want to be working on, transactions and all that. So I'm making a transition within your first 5 years. How did it play out?
I've made 3 transitions within my first 5 years.
I know somebody who transits almost every year. So
I hope something gets to that.
I guess, to be honest, my career hasn't played out like I thought that it would. As at year 3, I had a goal or a big dream. So I'd always been involved in like charity work, right? So my mindset at that time was, work with the UN. And so as at year 3, year 4, I'd already got to like the UN website, the volunteer website, just trying to apply myself and say, this is where I want to be, this is where I want to go to, right? But as we know, I'm not yet at the UN. All right, so that happened, and then fast forward to NYC. So NYC, I figured that, I still wanted to work in the development. I just wanted to, all I've always had in my head was I wanted to work in development space. That's all I've always had in my head. Then NYC happened, I got posted to a law firm, much to my chagrin. When I went, it's okay, let me just, even though from law school, I already knew that. From year 5, I'd said that this law is not really me and you. After now we move, right? But then when I got posted to a law firm, I said, okay, let me give this NYC my one
shot at law to be like, let me be as I didn't even try this law thing at all, right? So I worked at a law firm, and my law firm wasn't even a free active law school. My boss at the time was a lawmaker at the House of Rep.
Oh.
Right, but he had set up that firm as a backup so that when he leaves the House of Rep, he has something to fall back to. But there was another law firm that was opposite ours and was built by his friend, and that was an established law firm. So that I wouldn't just be sitting there, I used to write articles when I was working my boss, do research and write articles, and then I started going to court with these other guys, right? And what I tried to do for myself was I started, because I said that this is my 1 year to try this thing and see if it work. I was constantly reassessing to say, do I like this law? If I like it, what do I like about it? If I don't like it, what don't I like about it? And so my NYC year was me assessing the law really to see what I do. And then they also helped me identify my strengths. So I saw that amongst all, I think for NYC was because I knew that I had stakeholder management skills, right?
Impressive.
I didn't know it was something called stakeholder management skills, right? But I do know that of all of us that were working in that firm at that time, about 9 of us, I was the only one that the head of chambers trusted to say, go to court on our behalf and talk to the registrar and take a date or do this or do that or do that. And at some point, he actually allowed me to go to court one day to speak in court, and I was the only one that actually did that. And I think one thing that was also part, I feel like it was providence also, because that day I also got to know that, I had good I could speak well, or I was confident basically in my speaking, because we had at the same time that law extents were in court, right? And it was really just relaxed for an adjournment and stuff. That's right. If the lawyer was not around, the other words, all brief, I'm just here, please. My lord did not filed. Let's come back another day. And feel like that's literally what it was. But what happened that day was after the case closed, after the judge heard us and adjourned, one of my juniors from me right at the time was in court. And so she came up to meet me, and she was like, oh, that I did really well, and that she and that they were able to argue amongst themselves how many years I've been at the bar.
Performance review.
Literally, that's what he was. And I was like, are you serious? In my mind, I thought I was shaking. I thought like he wasn't, get. And so what that did for me was to say, okay, I said, I like this, I like this, I like this, I like this. But I also knew that I didn't really like litigation, because there was a matter that it had been in the courts, in the firm for like 3 years before I joined, and was still there. And I was going to leave from NYC and was going to continue to be there. And we are not still there. Right there is still there. So I knew that I liked to work in environment.
I'm currently on appeal.
I don't think they left the White House. So I knew from there that I also didn't like to work in an environment where things were dragging unnecessarily. I wanted to work, see the results of my work, and then move on to something else. That's how I figured that thing. So should I?
I'm not gone.
All right, so that was NYC. So after NYC, I said, but I knew that I liked research, so I don't got a job in Abuja. So I did NYC in Abuja, by the way. I got a job.
Same here.
After my law firm, I thought of moving from my law firm. I spoke to someone that worked in internet job property. He's a really big guy there, and I was going to work with him, but I came back home and could not know that go to Abuja. Long story. But as I was in between jobs for a while when I came back from NYC, but my head of chambers in Abuja knew me. He knew that I had charity side of me, and also knew that I'd worked with him as a lawyer and could trust him. So he said, I'm going to refer you to XYZ person. She's worked in charity space. She's a Mandela Washington Fellow, and she also owns her own law firm. I think she'd be a good mentor for him to work with and stuff like that. So I worked with her for about 3 months before stuff happened, and then I eventually left her place. But when I left, I left her office. But like I was able to go back in from time to time. She still opened doors of the office to me. So I kept on applying, trying different. Okay, so I tried to be a communications manager. I was basically just seeking for what exactly it is, since I knew that at least I knew that this place is not it for me, right? And I wasn't sure also about getting into a talking of firm. And this, I've never been really concerned about money. But at the same time, I didn't want to be hearing rubbish, right?
Yeah.
So thankfully for me, I got an opportunity to intern at PwC. Come sing the employers. I got an opportunity to intern at PwC. It was initially a 6 months contract, right? But I took it because, so before I got into PwC, so one thing I practiced, because I did not know where I wanted to go, but I knew where I didn't want to go. So every time I met someone who was like working professional, I always ask them, what do you do? And do you like your job? I always ask, because career fulfillment is very important to me. The way I think about it, you spend like 8 hours at least at this place. You have to enjoy it, because if you don't enjoy it, to affect other areas of your life. So I'd always meet them and say, what do you like? What do you do? What's it like? And I asked them for what their day-to-day work was like, right? And so from just hearing people's stories, and so I met my best friend at the time, and she used to work at Business Ingram, and then she was the first person that I heard that there was such a thing as business consulting from. And so when she said that, I now went to research it, right? And I think another thing that also helped me transition into consulting, because all my transitions have been in consulting, right? Where she said, she was telling me she's a consultant, and I took some time to research it. But prior to that, when I was job hunting, after I'm back home from NYC, I read this book, Startup Nation, right? It's about Nigeria's recovery and how, even though they're a war, quote unquote, a war-ravaged country, they've managed to build their economy, right? And so when I thought about the system that they had and how their national system was working for, I read that and said, I'd like to be one of those people that make sure that if I'm in a war around each country, how can this country cover? I don't think myself as a nation, but there's still that part of me that likes to be impactful, right? So I know that even at that time, I remember having a conversation with someone, one of my mentors, where I told him that I'd like to be for policy consultant. I also work in policy development, right? But I started off, of course, in management consulting, right? People said HR consulting. Spent some time also as a strategy consultant, so very experienced. When I was working as strategy consultant at PwC, one of my colleagues, one of my colleagues looked at me. She saw the advert for my current case, and then she's like, "Listen, I think you should apply to this. This looks like him. This is the kind of thing that you say that you want to do. I just think that this thing fits you. I think they pay well as well. So apply to this case." So I applied to my current firm, and that's how I currently work.
So I had a phone when you're speaking. I remember that one of the jobs. So me, I'll call myself Agba Transition. I've moved around a bit, but I remember like when I was just before where I currently work. I remember that when I needed to prepare for the interview, you were the one that prepared me for it. It just occurred to me, like, and that was the first time I professionally sought help in a job. And that's the best interview I ever did because I was prepared. Like, it was made those things, scrutinized and everything. So I just thought to put that out there.
Yeah, I just wanted to add, right? Because like, and I think I need to really stress this. It's really important to be prepared for things, not just interviews. And you can tell because when I went for my first interview, nothing. I wasn't prepared and everything, but by the time I prepare for an interview, because the truth is, what people don't know is that sometimes the interviewers want to hear something. If you ask what my 5-year plan is now, if I say I will not wow you. I may not necessarily believe in it, but I know what it's true. Because I remember that when I was going to interview, because one thing I learned from the streets of Twitter was somebody had said something about how they just randomly apply to jobs maybe once in a while, just so that they can go for interviews and just test that what they are doing and what the market wants. It's like, I'm okay. Like, I'm not lagging behind and anything. So I took the advice and just put the word out there that I was going to, not really, I didn't even, somebody just reached out to me because of this job. And I need somebody else on my team. I'm like, okay, but I don't know anything. Let me just see, what's going on and everything. And I prepared. And I remember that when they asked me what my 5-year plan was, my other, and I just like, postgraduate degree, working towards making partner. Like, I had an out of body experience. Like, I came out of my body and like, you worry, I'm out of my partner. Like, it was just really so. Preparation is bad because I prepared. In fact, like, I had somebody in there tell me look at the kind of questions that we always had to give you, like a funny contextual scenario. So, what would you do? They want to see, because it was a role that had a little bit of leadership in it. So they wanted to know that I'll be able to do leadership stuff and everything. Go write things in your CV that you can't speak to. I had to go back to all my gyms and had, maybe make quick ones. What's this? Because my CV has like a deal sheet annex. So I have my CV, then I have like a deal sheet of all my transactions and everything. So I had to go through it. I was really prepared for the interview, but I just really wanted to just buttress on that it's very important. You can't just go to interview and say, I just want to be honest or something, or just ask out or just say things. It's very important to tell people. No, it's true. I'm not saying you should lie, but when people want to join you, they expect some things of you. See, my thing was a 5-year plan. They want you to tell me that you're already writing your master, that you want to go to business school or something. No, I'm not going to do anything with you then. So that's it. You have to be prepared so that you know how to say the things that you want to say and how you should say them, so that even if the person doesn't even want to bring it to you, you just don't happen. I like how
I agree. And having done a lot of interviews myself, not because I've seen what preparedness, like how you can stand out when you are prepared.
Yeah.
I know, like, and it's like what Dean career advice for. If you need to pay that extra money just to prepare yourself, then it's an investment into your future. Don't think about it. I know someone might be saying, "Oh, I just finished school. I don't have money." You may not have the money to pay, but you have network to leverage on.
Yeah.
Just doing an interview in front of your friends, going over.
Yeah, Russell mentioned that when I was going through my PwC interview, it wasn't just an interview, he actually also had me do a presentation. And this lovely lady right here, take your stars, take your flowers, actually came to my house and we did like some sort of memoir variation. So it doesn't have to be like a professional, like a real friend.
Yeah.
And I can tell you that I got feedback that even with the people that, so in the afternoon days when we just finished, they compared to their school abroad. And they told me point blank, like, people that schooled abroad, worked abroad, and some people had their MBAs, but in that interview, from the rating sheet, I was the best interview. And that version is, I was prepared, and my friend, right, and it wasn't a professional person, right, it was my friend that helped me. Be with a professional because they can tell you, they can pick things that your friend will not pick, and they can say, oh, I don't think you said that right, or something.
I'm just going to question from another perspective there. Over the course of last year, I've had the opportunity of sitting in over 15 interview sessions. And you can tell a candidate that is prepared than a candidate that is not. It's obviously to show, because the way you attempt to answer questions, you might not even get the answer right. And that's the point. You might not get the answer right, but it will clearly show that you know what you are doing, you know how to package yourself, you know how to tell them what they want to hear, and the recruiter can see that you might be a good fit. Even if you don't know everything, when you come in, you are likely to student correctly and then be able to adapt. And that's taking me to the next thing I want to just, okay.
On this preparedness thing, I think that aside from maybe knowing the right answers of right, the one thing that I am sure that preparedness does for you is confidence.
Yeah.
It's confidence. And even if you know the correct things, but you're not confident, they probably will not take you. And like somebody else who doesn't know it,
but sure.
Confident. Yeah. So prepare just so that you can be confident to show up.
Okay.
Yes, and I think I also need to say this because, like, confidence is very important, especially now.
I love the way we're transitioning, and I have some problems.
Confidence is very important because I think now, because of the, we are all young people, because of the Japa wave, and what the Japa wave has done is that places that you ordinarily are taking maybe like 7 or 8 years to be, or you can do it in 3 or 4 years because there's nobody between you and that place. And allow if not that, maybe if those people that were supposed to be there were around, you would not even smell. So what it means is that you have a shot at being in mid-management very quickly. And confidence is very important. Like, people want to be able to send you, your partners want to be able to send you out, and they know that you are, like, I know this person is not going to be shaky, their voice will not be, I know this person represents me well.
Yeah, good
that's what confidence does for you. So even if, like, maybe you're still working on it, is a must-have. It's really a must-have, and it's very important for you to pick it, especially because of the terrain we're in now. And even when you even travel, because I remember, like, when people, so I know 1 or 2 people that went for their masters abroad and came back into Nigeria, and, remember, and this person studied in Europe. I know the way I always joke that the average European speaks like maybe 5 languages. Yeah. So yeah, as a Nigerian, already at a disadvantage because obviously they want to pick somebody that they know that if it's French, if it's Italian person. So just imagine if you go into an interview with somebody that can switch languages, and you are first of all not like preferred, and then you're now maybe tweaking your tones, you're not coming up. It's just like, what will I do with you? I don't have any, like, first of all, I'm not even sure that I want to take you. And then you're just not there. So confidence is important because the bottom line is the competition is global now. Yeah, everybody, like, I'm always joking, everybody had an LLM in New York, everybody's qualified in New York. So I just go like, and then they coloring, really the land that is still not starting to give. But you know what I was here.
Well, not that I know.
But just so that but that's how it is. Everybody goes for New York. So so people that didn't even study in New York are qualified in New York. That's not how. So just imagine how, the competition is going to be in the next how many years. The least you can do for yourself is to own stuff. Like, I'm doing this thing, I'm confident I can do this. So I just want to,
the other part of confidence I'll talk about, which is something that I stumbled upon like very recently, last year and 2 years ago, is, and I'm saying this because we are 3 women, one guy here. So one thing I have found, having spoken to people locally and internationally, Nigerians and non-Nigerians, is as Africans and Nigerians, we have this false humility that I can't remember the lecturer in law school to call humility.
Is it low none?
It has to be. So we have this humility. So what you find is Africans generally don't like to toot their own on. It's a general problem, and it's not even a matter. And I'm saying Africans not in the way the world sees Africa. I'm saying Africans because I have met Africans from other African countries. So yes, we don't like to toot our own on. So an African will say, like, just you want to say you decorated this space. You just be so modest. Also, I just decorated. I put one of these together. I have.
The Lord help me to.
You'll see someone from another nationality that did half of what you did, and the person will send it to you that they built this house. And so that's the first, part where we are not confident enough. And another thing I notice is, so as Africans, we're not confident. And as African women, it's like the confidence never dips anymore. So even amongst your African peers, right, you find that a guy will walk into a space. He may only have, how, as lawyers, you're on a transaction, and maybe at the associate, and all you did was just maybe proofread the documents. And there's another lady on that team that maybe prepared the documents. And by the time both of them were on their CV, happy to have advised, right? And if you put both of them in a room to speak to the transaction, man, you'll be so surprised how the guy will even almost say he was the partner of the transaction using nice words. But the lady will just be like, and I assisted. So, and it's not, I'm talking personal.
So there's no statistics to prove that when you look at a job ad, right, men, once they see that they have about 60 to 70% of what job ad requires, they apply. But women will most likely not apply until they see that they have up to 90% or even more, after even 100%. Yes, it's actually, so that's another thing for confidence. You have to start, as we are now speaking to like ladies, because we're talking, the majority of the people here are like, we're all young lawyers, right? And that real professionals, I'm so sorry. Young professionals, and you know what Ayodele had said is the competition is now global. You can't keep thinking and playing small. You have to magnify your value even in your own eyes. Yeah. And you have to believe that value for you to sell it to the next person in a way that it is believable. So you have to package. I have a friend and you have to package yourself. But you pack, I'm like, I think you would package it. If you speak to her, I said, okay, for instance, this question I hate really well. Tell me about yourself. The first time I was praying for an interview, she said, and I told her, it's like, babe, you're not packaging yourself. But then she reconstructed my I said, now, babe, okay, fuck that. Do you understand? So, yeah, I like what we talked on the confidence, the transition, and all of that. Just to add one thing that you can do.
I'm adding one more thing.
I'm so sorry. I actually want to add one thing, but I just said, let's just move on. Yeah. Please go ahead. So I think if you don't have, like, what Kofa said about confidence, it just reminded me of, like, my first interview after coming back to Lagos, right? That interview, I can't remember. I think it went bad. It went poorly, rather. Right? And I remember that as I left that interview, I was crying on the road. And then I had to remind myself over and over again. I'd read to my mother. I said to myself, as I was walking and crying, I said, "Dosing, you are enough." Because I realized that something that she asked me in that interview, I could have answered better. I could have done better. But I'd already entered that place feeling like, oh, I'm not sure I'm good enough. Right. And so as I was walking back from that interview, I started telling myself, "Dosing, you're enough." And I said it over and over to myself till I got to woman. For a period of time after that, I kept to say it to myself. And I think that one way to also boost your confidence is by affirming yourself, saying affirmations. I need to go to students.
Okay. Affirmation, confidence, preparedness, transition, everything. The good thing about this conversation is it's not as if, you're a motivational speaker. We're not dropping inspire.
There's even no motivation.
You're not dropping inspire to perspire.
Yeah, I don't be motivated. What does that mean? Like, you just speak. There's no motivation today. Go back tomorrow.
So the basic thing is, I'm sure listeners are, pick whatever fits, whatever applies to you. People at different stages of their career. There are people who are here who are about to join a profession. I'm sure there probably some university students who are on the call. So whatever stage you are, if it's the transition that you need, did it. If it's the preparedness you need, take it. If it's the confidence you want, grab it. All right, okay. But I'm just going to ask us to track back a bit. Now, you said there are those who say there's a big wide gulf between what people learn in school and what the job demands. And when you find yourself in a professional setting, say for the first time, your first year, how easy was it to find your footing in a firm?
It was my
like when you got your first review back, you had mentioned all those red colored and steel everywhere, steel. So if you could point to things that helped you, sort out yourself quickly, that allowed you to blend in easily, allowed you to learn what the firm culture was, how the firm operate. What are the things you will recommend for people? And for me, this is what worked for me. I just want to listen to the truth.
I think you should go first.
Well, don't be hiding. This is the person that you want to talk before. Now, it's not hiding.
No. Okay, so I'm there. All right. So I did my NYC in Abuja, and then I moved to Lagos. That's what type of transition actually. Transition from city, because people were asking me if I was crazy when I was moving from Abuja, where everything makes sense in Abuja. Lagos, living in Lagos is one of the 1,000 ways to die. All right. So I moved from Abuja to Lagos, and I remember 1st November 2018, I joined my firm, almost 5 years now. And when I got in, one thing I quickly learned is, saying every firm has their own way of doing things.
Yeah.
You need to figure out what works here. You understand? And see, what you're taught in school is somewhat different. What I believe personally, that education is not actually about what they are teaching you. The whole work of education is to open your mind, to make you able to assimilate ideas and to utilize them when necessary. And that's why you see somebody who studied Yoruba education can work in a bank, because actually it's the fact that you're a graduate, you have an expansive mindset, that you can take ideas, you can learn new theories, and then you guys are working on transaction private equity. Nobody taught you private equity in university, but nobody taught you in law school. But the fact that your mind is open. So that's the key thing. When you get into a new space, make sure you have an open mind.
Yeah.
I want to learn. You understand? Your first few years should actually be a teachable moment. You understand? I have the opportunity of supervising interns and first year associates. So I encountered the other student. Ask questions. Yoruba say, like, you can't get missing when you ask.
Except in people's subject. What they say, don't walk small. They don't carry your house. You can't play a growth walk.
Turn this way.
Treat.
So don't be afraid of asking questions. But I tell people that when you want to ask questions, I tell my trainers, don't come to me and say, who is the president of Nigeria?
Oh.
No. When you ask questions from people, add value. You want to get value, but show some preparedness too. You can come to me and say, oh, I know that the president of Nigeria is Buhari, but I know they elected another president. So currently, I'm not too sure who is the current president of Nigeria. I can see that you have an idea about what you're asking. So I can point you in the right direction. So don't go and ask a senior, how do I? No, I've tried to do this. This is what I'm working on.
Yeah.
So the person is able to see that, oh, I'm not just pouring water into an empty
basket.
You understand? You've already done something. So when you come to me and ask a question, I want to see your effort. I want to see that I'm not starting from A. You understand? I'm going to show you, oh, okay, come on. Just do this and add this to this and be able to go. So please, always ask questions. I think, let me change that one and allow it.
Do you know that what you just said? That last thing you said was something I learned. I learned it a little late, and I thought my boss then was being difficult, but that's like the most valuable career lessons I learned personally. Like, okay, there's a problem. Not just come and say there's a problem. There's a problem. This is how I think we should approach it. I may be wrong. It doesn't expect me to be right because I have more experience than me. But the fact that, and the next question you will ask is, so why do you think this way? And like, okay, I think X, Y, Z. Like, I hear you, but I don't think so. It's you. There's a level playing. I'm not just coming. There's a problem. He asked you, okay, so
where you be looking?
And I will look him. But anyway, that was on the side. Later, how did I know? I think one thing to say initially, which is what they didn't teach us when we were in uni at law school, is the moment you're leaving, don't look, when you finish law school or when you become a lawyer, don't just think of yourself as, oh, I'm now a lawyer.
I am right.
I think, no, that's not even where I was going to. I think, instead of looking at yourself as a lawyer, look at yourself as an embodiment of transferable skills. Right. So, yeah. And then it's such that you know that wherever you are, you want to say transferable skills, you don't know it, but you have the skill set. So when you were in university, we did a lot of research, we wrote projects. So the day you have to write your first legal opinion, you may not understand the subject matter, but you have the research skills to apply to, coming up with that. Although it may end up being a lot of red, but at least you're not just acting on nothing. So that's something I wish I knew, because I think that helped with my confidence. If I knew that, I may not know the needs of this thing, but it's not as if I'm dumb. Right. And if I have some skill set that you recognize, why you even give me an opportunity
in the first place.
Anyways. But I think my first year was just, so I didn't integrate. But what happened was when I finally moved to a law firm, I quickly realized that litigation was not for me for personal reasons. And I was failing woefully on this litigation scorecard. But I also quickly knew that I was good at transactions, so I played to my strengths. I didn't care that I was failing. I tried. I really did try. It wasn't working, right? For the litigation, I felt somebody that I don't know. They say lawyers are liars. Well, in some cases, it's yeah.
I like both sides.
This client is guilty. Why the hell am I writing it there? The difference, like, I know you're guilty. But you're guilty. I don't know how to help you. What would you like me? But for transaction, I realized very quickly that transaction used to make my heart beat. Like, literally, like, oh my God, what kind of transaction? And I think one next transaction come my life is you advising a client, maybe an M&A, right? And it's successful and you see the reward. I worked on a transaction and almost everybody talks about the evidence of that transaction today. Almost all of, if I mentioned the name, everybody would be able to tell. Every I sit, I'm like, I worked on this. So they're like seeing something real. Yeah. So I played to that strength, and that quickly allowed me to accelerate because I knew I wasn't trying to impress the litigation guy, because I knew that I was doing it because of the matter of practicing. Friend that you must do litigation for that 1 year. But after the 1 year, you can now start tilting towards. So I was just owning my skills. It may not work out for you. I also have friends that they didn't have a choice. When they joined their law firm, you got the policy of the law firm. Maybe they wanted to do IP, for instance, but because of policy of the law firm, they found themselves in another department. They didn't have a choice. So I found out what many of them did was they didn't lose sight of what they wanted or where they were going. So even whilst they were working in where they were sent to, they were able to still go and meet the guys in IP that I'm just an IPO. If there is a work or a transaction, let me see how I can help. Or even whilst they were there, they continued maybe developing themselves professionally. I know people that all their lives, whilst in practice, they were doing maybe transaction, but they didn't have to do arbitration. But they just not had the opportunity. But when the time for them to go for their masters, because they knew that they wanted to do arbitration, they were tiptoeing the line of arbitration in your masters. Yeah. So me, I think my own is try and play to your strengths and know that you have transferable skills, such that even if you don't start out where you want, you get all the skills you've learned from where you don't want. You'll be useful when you finally get to where you want to go to.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Kofo, for those very useful nuggets. Let's talk about you.
Okay, so there
was a whole lot of expectation. You mentioned that, and I think I've read somewhere in your book about you being asked to read some books when you were talking to your partner. Take us through that.
Okay, so I think that I think one key thing to notice is, although again I said I believe what's in one key thing, like how Charles said, some people have certain way they do things. And as a lawyer, you will see it when you get the documents of other people. And the way you touch the document, you say, you don't touch my document. This is how we do it here. So I think one thing is you need to be able to learn that this is to distinguish between this is something that I'm not doing right, or this is the way these people just want this thing to be done. But you can tell the difference between the two. to make your life much more easier.
I call that matter of style or matter of substance. So when you review, you should be able to classify, is this review based on style or is this substance?
Yes, or even generate feedback, or like when you say things, or when you do something and the feedback comes in, or when you're interacting with people, you need to be able to tell that. Because if you don't draw the line between the two, you will always be sad. Yeah, especially as a young person, because you are not working alone. You don't have the final say on so many things, right? So it means that everything you do is subject to another level of review, such another level of review. And it also means that it will make it difficult. So this is what I mean. If I'm working with Charles all the time, right? I know that Charles wants his, like, so for example, now my mentor that time, when we were writing letters, his style of personas is, let the person know from a first line, I want your head. Then you can now start thinking why. So when you read that first paragraph, I already know what, like, you want my head. The concluding part, I want your head. Whatever else is in the middle, that's your business. Do you understand? If that's the person I'm working with, but every time I work with him, I've not been able to tell different that this person wants, I want your head in the beginning and we'll always have problems. And he will always give me feedback. They're not doing what I want. But you won't tell the feedback they're not doing what I want. Like, can't you think? You're writing a demand letter. The person should be able to know how many people read 2 pages of this. And so if you keep hearing that all the time, because you write a perfectly, the letter is okay. You make the demand in the letter, there's nothing wrong with it. But that feedback will continue to come. But if you're able to tell the difference that this is not a critique of my style of work, it's just that this is how this person wants letters to be done. I know that when I'm working with Charles, it's how I do. It's how I'm going to do. Even if I have my own mind and my own beautiful arguments and everything. And that was one thing that, like, I didn't learn it on time. Because remember, I said that with Kiwi, and it's something you also, because you didn't come in alone, you come in with cohorts. And people will always, the thing about how they say that the word of good works is more. When it's time to give people work, nobody wants to work with somebody that gives them headache. So they will always pick those in your cohorts that they not here to make exactly. And the people will leave you behind. When it's time to make decisions in rooms that people can talk, nobody will talk for you. So I think that's really one thing. First of all, realize, be able to stay in this thing is something I need to do to improve. Or this is just a style. It's not easy. I'm not saying that when you enter the film, you'll be able to recognize it. Do you understand? There's some people some people are just very difficult to please. You can never do whatever you want to do. Well, sometimes I always say that there are some people that you just know that if I give him something, he will sharp move something around to stop.
I will really sure one must give him the IP, I mean, the patent, the copyright, that, but she's all that.
Because there's substantial difference. Yes. You know what? I feel those kind of people. I'm not angry. Like, I just know that it's not about my work. It's just that this is how this person wants to be done. Do you understand? So it really made my life easier, although I didn't learn it on time. But when I was able to tell that difference, and the reason why it was important for me to use that, because I was with people. And I was always being benchmarked against those people. And there was someone even came out to tell me, why can't you do work like this? The person had told me, hey, I don't like working with you. I prefer to work with A, B, C, and D. And I felt like you could have told me that you don't like my quality of work without necessarily comparing what's in my head with these people. Do you know, it doesn't mean like it's not good for me. Like, and how do you think I'll research? These people were, one of them was my friend. I used to go to how meetings and everything. Yeah. So like, how do you want us to break jealousy? So it was really difficult. So that's the first thing. And I think the second thing was that I realized that starting out early is the trait. Nobody really expects you to be all that. Mm-hmm. And I know that it sounds funny because you think, oh, you're all that. I think you're all that, a big GS and everything. Because I wrote, this part of my book, I wrote that I just felt like I wasn't being treated like you want to be the best thing of that. But the truth is a good thing. Because the mindset everybody has is that they want to train you, they want to teach you. So it could be a good thing. So I think that's just what flows with Charles said. Just to have that expectation that nobody really expects some money from you. What people want to just see, like Charles, just make effort. When there is a meeting, don't be the last person to thrown into the room. What is that? I'm not like I've been on the time with the play. I've been
don't wait for them to tell you, you know that there's a meeting on the email trail and the client is saying, your guy said we'll create a meeting invite and you're waiting for your guy to stay and you're dealing You should be the one to say.
Yes. And one thing, so another thing, I think the final thing is that just don't have a defeatist approach, because it's very easy to say like every time you work on that rate, you're supposed to the third one, the blood. I was like, at the point, I just like, no matter the research I do, no matter what you guys are still going to write whatever you want to say.
Let me just push it up, they will deal with it.
It doesn't work that. But one thing I learned that really was to make a communication is, so when you tell me to do something, I don't just go and one days. I try to kind of like re-ask again that. So are you telling me to do? I will not ask again. Are you telling me to do A, B, C, and D, and E? So I will try to fill up the gap. It's obvious to just go on and just assume that.
Target.
So it really helps. So that I don't know. I don't really say that there's a way I dealt with the bread and blood and everything. But you just have to keep showing up. That audience, this didn't work out. Then maybe you go back and ask, what did I not do well? What was really wrong? And I recognize the fact that you may not be in a team or an environment where that is allowed, but I think that you should have somebody. And so this is the fourth thing. God, I don't know how, but God really had my back. I had somebody.
It's like a mentor.
Exactly. Like, I remember the first time I was going to file, like, my pleadings and everything. He taught me how to compile papers. Like, you say, put the exhibits here, staple it like this. Like, he literally did everything. I was just okay, just arrange it like this and that. When I'm writing emails, I'll type out emails. I'll say, look at this email. You say, madam, don't stop me. I'll say, look at it, read it again. Does this make sense? So I really had somebody there that was really interested. And then luckily for more, we had like an open cubicle setting. So where I was sitting, there was somebody behind me that could see my screen. So I know that sometimes it would be very interesting, but there were 2 or 3 key times that she didn't mind her business that literally saved my life. Do you understand? So it's good, like all of those things about, trying to distinguish between what's good feedback and what's, stylistic feedback, and trying not to be defeatist and trying to make efforts.
Yeah.
It really helps when there's somebody that is guiding, when there's somebody that. So I guess maybe because I'm also a Christian, I'm a praying person, I'll say maybe you should pray. A lot, especially people that listen to Joshua Self and talks a lot about people that help you. That the way God has the wives and all that. You just need somebody.
Person will not come down.
You need somebody to speak for you. You need somebody to say the way you are grown. So, and I've said it before, like my CV, everything. I didn't write my CV. Somebody did that for me. Somebody literally gave me a list of places to apply to.
Thank God for me.
So even now when they tell you go and apply for master's, the house it's always so weird. They're not going to always have at this time. It's not so they're not. So like there's just somebody. We will not see eye on so many things, but I'm so grateful. Like upon all my strong day, hardcore, it's still like I've just always had 1 or 2 people that will be like, what's going on? And I'm really grateful for that. So if maybe you're a praying person, I would say that that's what you should do, because I get people share about their experience, and I people say stuff like you work on the team, even the senior will not be the one appropriating your work. You have an idea. I didn't have all those things. They had people that were recording, go back, look at that email, like the way my mentor was in the office, he would say, print out this opinion. Like, this is final thing that is going to print it out again, write it, like read it, hard copy, and then mark it up, because there are some things you will not see, and it's true.
Yes, well.
And even when you want to convert something to PDF, it's when you read PDF this, you now start seeing something.
Yes.
So it was on there, like, my manager partner, he will print everything, say, print, I live, I don't know what you guys are doing, and print it down, I say, realistic. Watch it up. I remember there was a time I printed something. I didn't like, how all those bullet numbers, 1 point, 2.2, was 1.2.3.4 friends. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. They have post. Did I print that this speed movie? Good. Yeah, like, so, but like, it was that kind of training. So I saw that this thing is not like his wickedness. Just like, because even him too, when he wants to do, he wants to print it for me. You say print it for me, and I do something, print it, let me read it. That was the kind of training I got. And I as much as I want to take credit and say, oh, I was hardworking, I had effort and everything.
You've turned out fine.
I had feeding, and of course, I'm sure that it got that model. So grateful to God.
Okay, so I'm going to
sorry, before they say there's something I wanted to quickly touch on what you said. That was the second being, oh God, I hope I remember now. Oh shit. Okay, yes. When we're talking about oh God, this is in my head. I don't want to forget, and it's very important.
Whether it's just 6 of January, come.
I will not forget. I will not forget. Okay, yes. So I think something I didn't learn early in my career is your work is good. Like you obviously have to do good work, but I think many people forget, especially young professionals, forget the people side to things. Like we didn't learn how to build relationships on time, and you realize that the older you get in your career, the scorecard for your skills keeps reducing, as in for your technical skills reduce and your soft skills increase. So you need to learn people management very early. And now remember exactly what I wanted to say. That part of you trying to distinguish between
Style,
substance or style. I found myself in one of the places where I worked with 3 different partners, and all 3 of them had different styles. I need to recognize it. And I realized that, the person I liked working with had a style of, I don't micromanage. I allow you to flow, then I look at it. That's how you own. But there's the other one that wanted to hold your hands by, and I didn't quickly distinguish. So I'll be doing it for A, what I do for B, and we clash until the day I realized that, should have said the work to you, even in the style, even in the formatting style. Although, so one of them may not be relaxed or formatting. Another one wants you to format exactly the way the friend wants you to. It has to be this, it has to be 1.2. The day I quickly distinguished between how all of them worked. Oh my God, and I think life just became sweeter. And that's part of people management. You have to quickly learn how to manage all. Manage all. Yes, we're always become managers one day, but even before you become the manager that you're managing down, you have to manage all. What does my boss like? What is his style? Yeah. What is his this? Okay, if I'm used to working with Dosing. This is how Dosing likes to stay. If I have to work with Ayodele tomorrow, the first thing I will expect you to meet is Ayodele has to work with Charles. Charles is my mate. Charles, how far? How does Ayodele like our work? Because I recognize that Ayodele and Dosing and different people, and I mean not even the style, even the language. Ayodele type that likes blowing into different people. One likes blowing grammar, you don't boom. So you won't like it. Like the other person is like, what is this grammar that does speak in English and doesn't want to be clear? So you have to quickly know that, they're working for Ayodele, this is how Ayodele likes. And nobody's going to teach you that. You have to learn it yourself. And sometimes the process is painful because it feels like you can't just do anything right in Ayodele's eyes. And I want you to understand, but when I was in junior, I used to be so upset with the seniors and how they reacted to maybe things we do. But what you feel, and other than I'm a manager in my own right, I now understand. I'm now sympathetic. These people are also going through a lot. Like, you have to realize the senior associate is probably getting grief from the partner. Yeah. And the last thing they want, exactly. And the last thing they want is someone else adding to their already full plates. So you have to make, and the other thing is say, help me to help you. Yeah. You have to help them to help you. And one of the ways to do that is understanding this is how this person likes it. I didn't talk about communication too. Ask questions. Ask intelligent questions. Don't ask obvious questions. I remember the first time one NYC intern came to me. She said, the first time I went to meet Kofo to ask her for something, she said, have you Googled it? Said she that day, just come and meet me. First thing she should go and Google it. But night I'm like, why on earth won't you even Google before you come and ask me? I'm sorry, you do that for people. Some people don't know. And I think at least for people that I work with, I try to tell them that this question you've asked. So I don't say why I don't say this question you've asked enough. You know, also figure that. So wow, but when you are done, call back. Somebody to so I remember working with the junior too, and both of us were working in national for the first that I had never just imagine I've been working in M&A as someone puts me on oil and gas I have never done. So he kept asking me a question and I'm like, I am as clueless as you. Yeah. So I did. So the same work you need to do, the same what I need to do. So please get to it.
Okay, I'm going to try to round off things and then take some questions. But the question I'm going to ask,
I heard fast enough. I don't know.
It's actually another dynamic perspective to that question. There are people who work, in small organizations that you don't have like a direct mentor in your organization. Have you ever had the opportunity of, having somebody outside the organization still assist you through the process, despite not working with you in the same organization?
Well, so yes and no. So yes, in the sense that this person, so because the person that comes to mind right now is a lawyer,
Okay.
right? But I don't work as a lawyer. But what this person does for me is to give, I think what an external mentor does for you is to give you perspective. So when you talk to, so for example, if you have a nasty boss or a nasty director or partner or whatever, right? There's a way that there's a bias within the firm already about that person. And so when you go and meet your seniors on how to that person is just difficult, XYZ, XYZ, XYZ. But when you talk to somebody who is outside of that space, they can tell you, why don't you look at this thing from this perspective? And then I think what that also does for you is that it helps you not to internalize toxicity environment, because you had a different perspective and able to see, even though this person is a terrible person in terms of behavior, but that external person can help you say, what is the goal? What exactly is the, because I don't think some people are just badly behaved, but I also don't want to believe that anybody just decides to, most people will not just decide to make a life a living day out, but it's just because of this. Right. So I think talking to an external person definitely helps to give you perspective. It helps you to, and then I think that's what it was, that's the major part, because I've spoken to a few people, it gives you perspective, they give you better understanding of your firm and how to manage the dynamics that exist within your firm. And just teach you how to do like any people management bit of work. Yes, I've had that.
So let me just, I just want to add. No, because I remember that one of the things that, was like a huge shock for me when I started out was the late hours. And for people that know me, they know that I have coffee and everything. But one day,
So when they say, hey, you have coffee?
So I remember one day that, we had to do a deal, and then I was in the office until 12. And then was my partner that was in the office and was like, I'm not sure that I want you guys to be in the office until 12. That was one. And then the second time was when we had a call, because this my particular partner is in Muslim. Do you know that? Like, I think it was, they've called. So I think it was around Muslim holidays and we went to pray. And he said, is that going to be called the public holiday? He said the day that they are praying. So it just made me realize that even if I was to complain that there's no work-life balance, that this person is literally not asking me for something that he can't do. Because he literally just said whatever it was, just give me that day that we should pray. And it just made me, which is what, it just made me look at things like, maybe not every time fighting, not every time this person hates, not every time this person is a bully. This is somebody that is just genuinely interested in clients and everything. I'm cheap stand out, or how can we solve your problem? Even though it's a public holiday in Nigeria and everything, I like to make a call, but just giving this particularly for me. So it really changed things for me. When I have like a difficult situation, I don't always enter that situation thinking this person is just out to get me. I just wanted to portray that from the having perspective. That because every time if you're not careful, you will just be able to talk like that toxic something so hard. That all about toxicity. That's you want the other person just get this person is just that. But you actually take a step back and it helps because it's for your own. Most people like think that maybe workplace shenanigans is really about it. No, sometimes for your own mental health and well-being, so that you can move on and save your energy for what's really what's happening.
Thank you. So my last question is for all of you. Different questions for each person, actually. So why are you looking at me like that? Okay. I'm going to be asking you, I work in a very busy place. We all know. We understand. So how easy has it been, turning up work on time? You're working for different seniors and everybody's working. Everybody's working always urgent. You understand? Like everybody wants that. So that's what I'm going to be asking you. And Ayo, what role has your faith played in your career? That's for you. And don't say you're going to wrap it up by telling us how you're able to manage work and your life. Like you still write, you still do something.
I was writing.
I'm going to take it that way. All right, then I'm going to, open the floor for questions from the audience.
So I think I'm going to answer my question, not really necessarily for myself, but like for other people. And what I tell you, my colleagues that I work with, yes, you work in a high pressure environment. Yes, certain work will be maybe more urgent than others or more important. What did I find like that's always a pain point for me working with people and turning out things. And what I always tell my colleagues is, you guys don't communicate enough. So there's work to be done. Like just want to put demanding their deadlines, demanding here and there. You don't know, you don't prioritize it, and you don't know how to communicate. So I have given you an instruction. So Charles has also given you an instruction. Both of them are urgent, right? Nothing stops you. If I gave you the work first, nothing stops you from telling Charles that Kufa has given me work to do, and the turnaround time is clashing. Tell him. Charles can ask, okay, what is the work? The task, maybe being a senior, can assess that actually what also gave you maybe you may be able to step it down for my work, or maybe to step my own work down for.
Or even go and look for somebody as a talent.
Or Charles come and meet me and say, how urgent is that work? I go like, not so they're okay. You not come and meet me and say, no. They will say, okay, I want to be high flyer, high performer. You can take my own, okay, you take, and you know, persevere. You know in your heart of hearts, which is why I've committed to communicate to me, in your heart of heart, that you cannot, or even if you miss the both deadlines, you end up turning out a poor quality of work. So I think if you ever find yourself in that kind of environment, communicate as much. I think one thing I learned early is sometimes when your supervisor gives you a timeline to meet, they're not trying to be wicked. Some other times it's the client that actually demanded that. So if you push your time, one day I told my colleague, okay, maybe we had to turn out work in a day or the very next morning to the clients. Work that I will review, and even the partner in charge will review. The moment I get the work late, if I had plans for my night, it's over. I can't do what I wanted to do because you gave it to me.
You're Napoleon of my mother.
This is emergency, and it means that the partner in charge now. So you don't be wondering why the partner is cranky. Hello, partner has a life and a family. Partner already has what you want to do. But if from the beginning, when I gave you the work, you're like, there is apps. Or even if you truly thought you could do it, and you realized, and I tell people, like, don't realize that you cannot meet the deadline the day of the deadline most times. You know the day before. Most times that you can't meet a deadline. The moment you don't tell me that day before or first thing in the morning, it's already a problem. But then you tell me, sometimes I'm like, you know what, this work, share the document, let's calculate together. It's giving up, you can't meet it, okay. Let me readjust. Maybe I have to step out something, but people don't do that. And it's can, and I say, personally, professionally, personal, I like communication. Because it helps to manage a lot of things. Your boss is not just being difficult sometimes, but because you've not allowed him or her manage their expectations of you, you're giving them an emergency that should ordinarily not occur, it now becomes a problem. So one of the ways I think you can work in a very high-pressure environment is being able to know how to prioritize. You have to have that tact.
Full quadrant.
You have to have the tact. Partner cannot give you work. I tell them to give you work. And automatically the partner work is more important unless you communicate to the partner that, there's a challenge that you think maybe more urgent though, and that. And because if people are human beings, like, forget the title, beyond the title, they are persons. Don't always make them feel like monsters or I can't talk to them. They understand that they're logical people for the most part. They're logical people.
And at the end of the day, in fairness, working towards a common goal.
A goal. So yeah. So I think communication and learning how to prioritize and learning how to manage your time. I won't tell you to work on a weekend. But if you know that there's a delivery that has to go out first thing on Monday morning, it's not me now, to the client on Monday morning. I'm not saying you should work on a weekend, but you may just have to sacrifice some time that weekend just so that you can meet the deadline. I'm not going to say, Ayon, you have to work. But I just think you should have that wisdom to know that this is not what is typically demanded of me, but I should be able to make the sacrifice at this time. Right? I should do. But all you do, ensure you try to strike a balance, work-life balance. At the end of the day, you are a person beyond your work. No matter what, you are a person. You have to find it. I don't know how, but you have to just find your person so you don't lose yourself in work.
Okay, thank you. All right.
Yeah, let me just add to what Kofu said. And I remember when I went to, because one of the prices for being just in law school to go to internship or listening how was price.
Say it right, it is the London.
So I was in London, and then we had, because obviously I was just being called to the bus. So they had training associates, which were more or less like us, they had like drinks they had like drinks with them at that thing. And I remember that one of the questions there was, if you feel like that, or if that's over capacity, and then what comes in and there's an urgent deadline. And one of the lawyers just said, oh, you just tell the partner that you don't have capacity to do the work. But what? On the team. What do you mean? So if I just give you, can you just say, I'm sorry, I don't really have capacity.
Are you joking?
Yeah, that was, and I think that is sound advice. I'm not saying that you should reject the work, which still comes as communication, but you need to be able to say, I have A, I have B, I have C. If you want me to do G, then you need to tell the person that gave me A, B, and C. Because I can't go and tell them now. I'm not that I'm rejecting them, but I think we're better than I think his pride to think that you are all that. Like, which is still in this matter, because I feel like is who do you think you are, and why are you overemphasizing your I'm not saying it's super hard me, but it made me realize that being over, like, and I feel like that, and I feel like I can do everything. That I feel like that's, I just want you to tell me that I want ABC. I feel like I can do ABC, and but as I grew old, I realized that I have 24 hours in a day, literally, and that 24 hours has to be a daughter, have to be a friend, and actually has to be an associate. I can't do associate.
But some people, we have to be a wife and a mother.
Exactly. So I have to be honest with myself and my capacity. And one of the lessons that drew that home for me was when the last I gave me one document and I said I put on around 48 hours. It was like, are you sure? After working around 72 hours. No, and it was pranks. I didn't give. If I did with the about it, if I find it out. So it just lets me realize that you also need to be able to be true to your capacity. I know that we want to be promoted, we want to show, but you also need to be true to yourself. It's better to under-promise and over-deliver than to over-promise and under-deliver. Nobody will be angry with you because you said I would do 2 hours and I did 2 hours. But somebody will be angry with you because you said you're going to do 2 hours and you did 5 days.
Yeah.
Yes, because we know how things get. Let me now go to my own question. I just wanted to add that point.
Thank you.
So how did my faith? I don't know. I think that it's just really again, I think for me, it's just God's hand just giving my life some social
Serendipity.
Yes, that's the word. That's what chapter I'm about serendipity. But I think it's just God's hand giving me some kind of guidance, things I do. It's just God compensating me for things I didn't realize that I needed compensation for.
That's interesting.
And then, because again, I know I already made me this thing about like having clarity, I just being sensitive about what I wanted to. I didn't have that. Yeah. But like when if probably people hear that I'm senior associate, I'm this, I'm that, they'll probably think that, oh, this is what I wanted to do. When people have a call with me at the senior negotiating document. I remember when I was somebody I negotiated, I was on deal with somebody in another firm, and then there was an event where the person was like introducing me. The person was like, oh, she's a very good negotiator, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, my friend, what's going on? But I didn't have all of these things put together. But I just feel like it's, God just sets me up, to actually join JLI. No, I wasn't sure. I thought maybe I should go to like 15 offers and I should see who I wanted to go to. And funny thing was, literally, the JLS was my only offer. Like, that was the only offer that I had. So I think it's like I had a choice and everything. But when I look back at the people that I had to work with, people that I had to learn from, the current people that I work with that are currently the partners in the office, even those that have gone and here, I just realized that it just had been God putting me there. And, one thing again about developing my character is something that my journey in the Holy Spirit has been really helpful in that. Just having this character and personality, people say, oh, so calm, and everything. Even when things are going on in the office, I know people that will tell me that, maybe when they just say my voice, they say, you don't get upset, so what happened? I say, what do you mean? I don't get upset. But it's just all that, pruning and just having self-control and discipline, just to be able to do things and just keep being consistent. That's very important. Being consistent, just showing up day in, day out, and go forward. So I think, yes, there's God's grace, and there's also that work of the Holy Spirit to be disciplined, to keep showing up, to work hard. It's not easy. Work hard, to be hardworking and consistent. It's not easy, but just putting in all those efforts, I think that's one of the things that my faith has done for me. And that, especially as Christians, we have, a standard in Jesus Christ, and, it's how the issues our spot. And so that's the kind of, like, every year I wake up and I say, how do I reach this standard of perfection? No, do every day. We open I should do. They say, I was supposed to be a Christian. Yeah, but it's still at the back of my mind that I want to be Jesus. I want to be salt. I want to be light and like,
Yeah. So just before Dulce answers our own question, if you have any question, you can just put up your hand so that once you are done with Dulce, you can just, ask you to unmute yourself and ask your question. So Dulce, yes, work-and-life balance, does it exist? Especially for lawyers.
I have been more lawyers than that, because I keep all the professional services together.
Yeah. And I'm sure there are many non-lawyers on this court.
Work-life balance. I think first thing I'm going to say is that work-life balance of 50-50 does not exist.
Okay.
Just forget about it.
What's your issue?
There's no issue. So the way I'll see it like I'll say like this. So the way I think I compare these two things, right? So I think about work-life balance like a couple that are married, a husband and a wife, and they have children to take care of, right? So maybe your career is your career, and then other parts of the other parts of it, right? In a marriage, nobody ever does 50-50. At some point, you have to do 100-0. At other point, you see 60-40, right? The way I think about it is that just be, I think, the way it must be, first of all, be self-aware. I think self-awareness is very important. Always thinking, what do I need to function as a professional, right? So for me now, and you know that to be a professional, you need to show up as your best self on different days, right? And sometimes, at this point in my career, what's not important for me to say, okay, what are the things that equip me to show up as my best at my job, right? And what I think I need to manage at my job that will not cause me anxiety and make me useless in a day-to-day work, right? So they both work together, your career works together, because they all work together making to self-testing. So how do you get work-life balance? You know that, okay, they all say that 9 to 5 is for your employer, and then from the 5, more like 8 p.m. till the next morning.
Did you budget for Lagos traffic?
I have to apologize. That's my reality association. But we're working program. Half of the most people were that being
All the way.
and I mean, that's I think so. The way I think was that there are times where your job is asking for 100%. So there are days when I was in PwC that I'll be like by 9 o'clock is when I'm just acting so particular task, then in the evening, and I'm working into the night ones. And there are other times when there are no times at work. Right. So I think what you can do is the times that are very intensive, know that it is sacrifice and to me. And times when there are no periods, use that time to also invest in yourself and invest in the relationship that you have. Number one. Then, like I said, identifying what is that makes sure you complete. But find that for me now, if I'm anxious about one thing, it kind of unsettles me and makes me unable to function in other areas of my life. So I know that it's important. So on days when I know that I'm beginning to become anxious, I write out a list of things that are making me anxious, and they begin to tackle them one by one. So sometimes if I have not, so you say, you call me a writer, I'm at a point now where before, if I don't write for a while, it's just, okay, I've not written. I didn't was talk about it. I'm not at a point where writing is actually important for my mental health. Writing calms me down. If I've not written in a while, I'm not functioning well. And I need to recognize that this is where I am right now. And that means I have to prioritize writing. And the days where, and you also have to be right, I was published. Nobody needs to go see what I'm writing. You know that for me, I need to write to be sane, right? And that means that sometimes on Saturday morning when I wake up, I'm on my bed and on my phone, I just written and pulled out voices in my head. Sometimes I wake up early as well, so I wake up in the past, I wake up by 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock. Now things have changed. I now wake up like 6, 7, but and I wake up at 6, 7, I wake up and I imagine. It's still very deal. I'm just using constant.
Is there any fun that that's my God I've aspired to? God like this if form of
right. So on such days, I know that one thing I can also do is to write. In that time when I'm just in my bed, I can write and say, okay, and just empty that thing. And from sometimes I'm not connected with my feet. And sometimes also I'm taking a break from work. And that's one thing I really appreciate my employers for. Right? They tell us that, if you've worked with Pascal for their time, because all of us are, like I said, all of us are human beings together. Right? And I had my name that I saw, and when I'm assuming, sometimes you're working on something, right? And your head is not itching anymore. Say you're reading these documents.
It's not entering.
Line is not like you know the words, but to form a sentence, there's no understanding, right? And she says, if you do get to that point, take a break and then come back. So there was a time when I had it ask me like, what is break? It's something I've been encouraged on my firm. I think it's nice, it must be nice.
Shana is that.
So when you're looking for a job, you're asking them, when I'm feeling, like my pain and cloud, can I take a break, Can I take me now?
So we haven't taken nap. So for example, when I was talking about PwC, right, I wasn't. What I think what is important is what is the deadline that you have? Work-life balance, you make it for yourself. So tell me the deadline of 6 o'clock for a task or an assignment. Ask yourself how many hours do you think needs to take you to do. And if you do that, you can't function. You can't meet it. First of all, because of the fact that your brain is not braining. I mean, our brain keeps saying, brilliant. Because of the fact that your brain is not braining, you know that you cannot meet that. So maybe for example, if you're taking your lunch break at that time, you can say, oh, I know that it's 6 o'clock time, but Candid meditation is 7, because in your mind you want to roll and use your lunch break to rest. For some other people, it's listening to music as you work. It's work-life balance. You make it for yourself, and it's first that with self-awareness about it, identify what is important to you, what are things that make you a total human being, and then when you do that, you now prioritize those things.
So thank you, everyone. I really there's a quick question for you. 2 minutes to. Maybe we 1 minute to answer each question.
Okay.
What advice do you have for someone who desires to have some sort of certainty about their next 5 years plan?
I think I'm in the wrong person to ask that, because I don't know, because there's something that also I'm always fascinated. Everything tell me that, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that, and they're like, how do you know? But why are you so scared that this is really what you want to do? Well, for me, because my 5-year plan that I thought I had at very funny, so I put to bed and go.
It's done.
Yeah, so but I think what I will say that I was at a webinar on with like 2 lawyers and girls.
Legally.
I don't know whether I knew this Dr. McFloy guy that his video was trending where he said, God, I'm pretty sure what make me be. So and I was saying that clarity comes with a price. Do you understand? So for certainty for next 5 years, there has to be a price. You probably make mistakes, probably have to transition like 3 or 4 times before you be able to get. So I don't really know the price you have to pay to get that certainty. Well, it's not like I don't think it's something that will really funny or lapse. So maybe it's to just come to you because you know. But again, I think that if you're also like a praying person, I've heard people say that, when they pray, they go on retreats and they have a note and they're just writing. And I'm like, God specifically have to hear it. If I just say that this was what you want me to do, I will drop everything. Like, I don't know that's what you want me to do. I'm like, why that prayer together? Don't show me. Don't want me to just let me know people. I think what has helped me, so that's what I wanted to say, right? I feel like certainty or courage comes as a price. It could be like the spiritual one where you have to, set yourself apart and just gotta figure it out. Maybe take it maybe 2 or 3 weeks leave off of work and just figure it out. Or it could just be that you want to just keep trying and trying, do this, you do that. And so, but I think one thing that has always helped me in terms of clarity is about passenger talks about whatever your heart's part to
Do it, right?
So even if right now I don't know around this, but this thing that I'm doing now, like today, if you come and ask anybody that how is she doing it, she'll say, you know that I'm killing it. That's the best of your ability. So anything that wants to come out of it, that's fine. Anyway, I remember that I was talking to this parent once. I saw so many person had gotten one of the lawyers in my office had gotten an offer and they were asking me that she so I said, what do you want to try with them? I said, do you want to work here? He said, do you want to specialize? She told both. I went, he just after the open, I just said, this is that cool experience. And I told him that what are you doing now? So I use some discussion to so I said, why don't you have some kind of yardstick or goals around this? So give yourself, so in the next 6 months, I want to use trial from start to finish. And the next 4 months, I want to be able to negotiate the next SPS, say that purchase agreement. You don't need to go, but that for you to achieve at those goals, you will change. Because somebody that your partner will be on a call like negotiating a document, not gains. You need to know what to do. You know the deal back of your hand. There will be some kind of maturity that you will have in this period because you're trying to, I think, even your habits will change because you're trying to, achieve those. So so that's, I think the long and short of this is it. Clarity says that it comes as a price. You need to put in work. If it's spiritual, well, pray, prayer works. And the other may not come immediately when you're around. Or just keep trying. Just keep moving. Let me slide along process or better still, whatever your hands are, just you.
Okay, else.
Right, Becky. Okay, you want to add to that before I anything else?
Okay, so for me, right, I also think, because so basically, this is what Ayodele said, right? I also think we all need to get comfortable with not knowing.
100.
Many people are just, oh, like, you have to. I was saying someone that I had friends from uni that knew after, like, in uni after school that they were able to do law. I have a friend that told me, oh, I was going to do something in health policy. I'm like, how do you know what is health policy? I had another one that, like, well, I was going to HR. They knew, and I loved that they knew. But there were also those of us that are just winging it, like lawyer today or lawyer tomorrow.
Probably to the winning capital.
Are lawyering. Well, I think one thing stands strong, one thing is important. You have to, even if you don't know what you want, know what you don't want. And that helps to guide. Start from what you don't want, yeah, right? So that people start from what you don't want. To yourself, be true. And you also have to know yourself. So you may not know what you want, but at least if you know yourself and know what you don't want, you know, it sort of guides you. And just make it to bring it home. I remember then when we finished school, I think 2017 was the year when most of our mates were out for masters and everybody was going for masters. I was like, what am I doing in my life? And I remember that I started applying for my masters. And I was in the office one day and I just stopped. Like, I sent my transcript, I sent everything. And I just, like, I think one just punched the brakes in my head and I just said, what are you doing? Why? And I asked myself, why?
Because
And I couldn't, and that was the only reason I was doing this because everyone was doing it. And immediately I realized that my motives were not right. I closed that chapter and I never opened it from that day. I think that's what you have to know what you do. You have to be sure, like, oh, am I doing certain things because everybody's doing it? Am I doing because everybody's doing it? But I think if you know what you don't want, and you know every day you're telling yourself, even in the one I don't want, even where I am. The Bible says, "Study to show yourself approved." I am working to show myself approved.
Yeah.
Eventually, you figure it out. You want to? Why do you think? I remember meeting a woman that I spent 20 years working in Total. And she left after a while, started doing maybe mentoring or something. And I'm like, how do you dedicate 20 years of your life? But she said something that she knew that she didn't really want to be there forever. And it looked like, oh, I waited 20 years in Total. But she said, no, that all the things that she had learned, all the people, you know what it means to work in Total for 20 years? You know the IQ that I've attained. That's those are the things that she's using now. And then for what she's doing, you realize that you find a lot of lawyers now, most of our friends are now doing, many of them are own fashion houses, many of them are now doing grand, non-lawyering things. I realized that it's from all these small things that they learned while they were being a lawyer. Yeah. So you learn how to manage clients. You know how to manage your customers. That's why I say, look at yourself as a body of transferable skills. So don't beat yourself up when it feels like you've not figured out what you want to do yet. Everybody's winking. People are lying. People are not saying the truth. Obviously today, many people are dishonest. Everybody has seen. They cannot. Oh, me to be real. Many people are not telling you the truth. Let me tell you now. They're telling you the truth. So don't beat yourself up because you're comparing yourself. Thank you.
Okay, Becky, I'm sure that answers your question. I'll just quickly take Chiyoma's question and I will attempt to answer it. Chiyoma says, what do you do when you want to work in a particular place to improve yourself, or you can't just get there and you can see your friends that you all finished together making it? Let me tell you the truth. I can't relate.
No, that's short.
Yeah, and it can be very painful. Okay, so it is normal. Yeah, so you need to first accept the fact that it is possible, it is normal. I'll tell you, when I finished NYSC, for like 3 months, I was out of job. Because I was applying to some places, I was feeling like I'm bigger than this one now. But it wasn't coming through like on time. Sure you get. And every day I go to LinkedIn, I see people
happy to announce that one Deloitte head like I said work on that to be different.
No, you see it and I say to your friend.
Yeah.
On their new role, this and yeah, so you know you can feel very bad and it is okay. Because there's what I call post-NYSC depression. Yeah. Don't just allow it.
Some of us that KJY said, let me see more.
So, well, when you see there's a particular place that you desire to work in, you can try to build connections. You can, even if you go on LinkedIn, try to connect with people that are already working there. By the time you check the employees, what do they all have in common? it might be something that the employer always look out for in the employee. So try to get some of these skills that these people have. And like we mentioned initially here, you can start small.
Yes.
You see, most of the time now, people that are working in all those big places, they did not start there. Most of them did not start there.
They rejected me where I'm currently working. They rejected me. I was so they rejected. When the time was right, it's a time and chance.
Yeah, no, but it's honestly Darren Miles doesn't mean nearby. Yeah, you know, and yeah, that is something that and I'm sure that there's always very, passionate about and just tell a story. Rach, when we she wanted to do tax, we score her that tax and everything. It took her maybe like 6 years or so to get into a big four. Tax, but she's there now. So I think that
what she loves.
Yes, I think it's not now doesn't mean that it's never. Well, yeah, while you're waiting, you can just take the advice. Look at what people do. What do I need to do to get it? How can I put my chances? What do I need to know? Can I stay? So let me be really. Sometimes we do not do anything. Like just telling.
Sometimes it was lucky. In fact, a lot of the time you find that for lack of a better word, you're better than some of these people.
Fair enough.
Time I just say people, I'm sorry. I said what honest. Let me tell you why. When we finished school, right, and everyone was getting jobs in big firms, I know I was a friend I reached out to. How did you get in now? He said, hey, just package yourself, work hard, do your CV. So I was doing it. Only to realize that this person is like nephew to one of the partners. I'm like, are you kidding? Why did you write that?
Out that detail.
Why didn't you leave me that? I was trying to, I was already battling my self-esteem, my value. Not knowing that you had an edge, and for you the edge was relationship. For some other people, the edge was you just want to deal.
But I want to also add that your question said that you want to work somewhere, you think that the only place you can get that knowledge is XYZ place. I think you also need to change that mindset. Right? There are many other places where you can get many other skills. And in fact, now let me tell you something. Sometimes you're looking at somewhere as the goal, but you get there and very disappointed. I'm not saying I agree. I'm not saying that what you want is wrong. You always go for what you want, but at the same time, don't be fixated on the path to going to where you want. The path can change. The goal is not to work. Most times, you can have a goal to work in XYZ as the height of the career, but it doesn't mean that you will start there or that you can go to see the PwC. Let me show PwC is a firm. There's a partner. Partner is the biggest things that can be at PwC. You can become partner by joining for graduate training and going to associates and senior associates 1 and I did through all the cadres. You can start from the back of the village and come in as a senior associate 2 or come in and become a manager. You can work at Zenith Bank for 15 years and be hired as a manager. You can work somewhere else and be as a director. And there are people that they bring in from other places as partner because of what they think that they can add to them as well. Exactly. So don't be fixated, because what will happen is if you are fixated of going to a particular place or working in a particular, I think that's the only place you can get that knowledge or that value. You'll be cheating yourself from enjoying your life right now. Now you have to learn to enjoy your life where you are.
And in fact, that's where I'm going to wrap it up on Chiama's question. When you are fixated on the destination, you miss out on the thrill of the journey. And the truth of the matter is, it might sound very unfair. Not everybody get to the destination. That is the way of life. Everybody, there are a lot of people looking for this. Sometimes you might never get what you're actually looking for. So, but in the meantime, where you are, work to show themselves approved. Let them see you as an asset. You will even be surprised that there are people who work with you now. They know exactly what you really want, and they'll be happy to recommend you later. They'll be like, oh, I know this person. Oh, he or she has always wanted this. If you take her up on your team, because when you work with people who have your best interests at heart, there are times when they know that you've overgrown their own space and you need to move forward, and they'll be very happy to make the recommendation. But if you are fixated on the future and you are grumpy now, you are cranky, you are not putting in your best because you are reserving your best, you won't have that best left when you get there.
Yeah, so you build that habit of not giving your best. And sometimes the person that will eventually push you to where you're going to, may never be somebody on your team. It's somebody that somebody has talked to you about you, or somebody that's on that team. Then I had this thing happen to me where I took at HR, right? I wanted to do strategic consulting, right? And the path that I had to go in strategic consulting in my mind was that, I get converted into a full staff, and then I'll rotate within the units and become strategy consultant. But that didn't happen. During COVID, I lost my job as an HR consultant at PwC. Like,
Sorry.
I lost my job. But what also happened was there was somebody that had seen me while I was at HR consultant. He had seen the efforts I had put into my work, and I did not know why I had left the firm. He had become a manager in strategy team. And when they had a project come in, it was a project that actually was very interested in working, but I didn't really have project existed. But this man by himself, he just said, "Oh, Rosie, we're hiring 2 people to do XYZ, and I want you to be one of the 2 people that we're hiring." Eventually, he had the second person. I was the only person that he had for that project, right? And this is when I was not on my team.
Interesting.
Right. So enjoy where you are. Give your best where you are. Do it for yourself. Don't do it for anybody. Do it for yourself.
All right. Are there more questions? If not, I'm going to, be wrapping up.
Was I, in a if not to yield to fellow. I hear the rock.
It's been a very, wonderful time. Right on this end, we've been gisting. I'm sure everybody has been listening and enjoying the conversation. Very soon, can I say very soon?
Very, very.
Very, very soon. The much anticipated book, the first 5 years of Book Smart to Streetwise, is going to come out, and you are going to have the opportunity of holding it in your hands. You are going to share the pre-order links with you shortly. Not today. I know you're already waiting. But
You should buy it.
I've had the opportunity of reading that book, and I'm very proud of it. But after reading the book, I'm proud.
You're proud of it.
I should have found my friend. My friend is an author. My friend has written this wonderful book. And if you think we shared some things with you today, wait till you get the book.
Yeah.
Because it's loaded. Yeah, I've not read, and there's just a whole lot of things that you need to read, digest, and you'll find them very applicable.
Yeah.
They are very down to earth, sincere conversation.
Yes.
I think Ayo was very vulnerable in the book. Like, I'm like,
Oh my God, it was something that we learned.
exactly, like, okay,
Wow.
now I share this and like this. So I'm really looking forward to it being out. I'm really looking forward to you having the opportunity to read it. I know you can't wait. I also cannot wait to.
Yes, so I know don't take it a little bit for a brain. I think you're not, but I think something I want us to do even as we close, because some things may never fit into it. Like we did not write carry out.
Yeah, it's true.
I did not write carry out book, right? But I think one thing I want us to do before we close is maybe in your career, like what's that one thing that has maybe one word that someone said to you, or one thing you stumbled on that has kept you going. I think I'll go first, and that has sort of characterized your career to date. For me, a mentor of mine had paid for this YPB mentorship sometime in 2018. And I think I was on the table with the C, I can't remember her name now, but, and I asked her, like, how do you've achieved so much in your career? How can I achieve staying? And she told me just 2 simple words. She said, pursue excellence. And for some reason, that pursue excellence has stayed with me. The day she told me that, I think someone opened my skull and it was ingrained. And I realized that everything I do, career, personal, whatever it is, I always tell myself, are you pursuing excellence in doing this? Right. Like that's my motivation. That's my motivator. Pursue excellence. I need to pursue excellence. And that has stayed with me. That will stay with me. And I'm hoping that stays with whoever is doing or whatever you're doing. Pursue excellence. And we've had different Bible passages to sort of back up that those 2 words, pursue excellence, and all you're doing, pursue excellence, and things will just come. Yeah, track.
When Kofo was saying that, I felt like, when you're second in line to go, and the best definitely want to run every it's not just like when I had a particular testimony and somebody came out and said, well, the song I wanted to sing, somebody has already signed it. Yeah, for me, it is having a culture of excellence. Like, it shouldn't only even be in your work, in your relationship with people, when nobody's watching, when it's just you understand? Like, it is who you are. And that is one thing I try to do. Like, if I'm putting this out there, this is Charles Adekunle. Anytime you see anything related to Charles Adekunle, it should be excellent. It might not be your standard of excellence, but that is for my own standard. I'm trying as much as possible to be excellent. And even if you think people are not watching, rest assured somebody is watching somewhere. The reward is always there. Might not be today, but the reward will definitely come. So be excellent in whatever you are doing. Don't always pass the buck. Where I'm a junior associate, I know the senior associate will look at it, the partner will look at it. So what's my own? Is it me that will send it to the client? Right? You, assuming you are the owner, own your work and be excellent. That's my parting words.
I think for me, I see resilience. And the resilience, seeing how to keep people accompanying the fear of shooting this country or stuff like that. Because what I mean by resilience is there'll be hard times, there'll be hard days, but we have I think that resilience is also like having a healthy mindset in the sense that, you will fall down, you will cry, you will feel the emotions of falling down, but you have to pick yourself back up and say, this is the goal. You get feedback at work, right? That makes it seem as if you are cheap. In fact, at some point, we need to doubt whether you should continue that job because, we have to just go back there and different
material.
Maybe I should consider my option, right? But you know what going to also. So I think what you should read, and then there are so many things. But I think for the resilience, of course, I think another thing that helps me is also speaking to people, right? And the kind of people that you speak to should both speak to yes people, right? We need to have conversation with people that don't necessarily think green think. Right, you don't want to be having a difficult time at boss at work and you tell your friend, I'm having a good time at work. And the best can be that their boss is wicked. Something. These are some people that can say, I quite get this, but I think you can also pick out your own faults, right, in what you said. So pick out your own and say, wait, but this person trash. I think that this is also a learning opportunity for me. So yes, so that's it. Find a learning opportunity in everything that happens to you, and then be resilient. Yes, find a learning opportunity. Anytime something happens, whether good or bad, think the else is what have I learned? What should I learn from this thing? Apply it to yourself and just keep going until you get you find out this shot.
You'll be fine. That's it.
Okay, so I one time when so there was a transaction in the office, everybody was excited, and then one lawyer, she's fresh at that time, she probably had 9 years of school. She was like, this would be a good opportunity to learn. I was like, this is somebody that I don't use.
The house learned
9 years, and you're still having that mindset, and that's what I just held on to that even if that's anything I need to do, I must make sure that I'm still learning things. I will never have that closed mind that, I think I've heard and everything. There must always be that constant situation, what am I learning? How can I improve this process and anything here? I think it's just keep an open mind to learning. Very, very important.
Okay, thank you so much. And to my GIST partners, thank you for coming. Thank you for your time and thank you for sharing all these beautiful, wonderful, applicable, relatable things. And to all our listeners, it's been a pleasure having you on this call. We thank you for your time. Thank you for joining us. And we hope whenever we call on you again, you'll be there as usual. Watch out
when it comes up.
Bye.
Bye. Think about your bye. Buy
for yourself, buy for your friends, buy for your library, buy for your mentees, buy for your mentor, buy for the church members.
And that's so right. I always like, so if you think that we're just saying that you should buy this because our friend has listened to how she supports, I think it's important to also mention that I have this friend. But I think that I find her to be an inspirational person in the sense that there are many things that she does that I wonder. So, for example, this whole work that they asked me, I think I should ask her. Because Ade is one person that we know that she's doing a job and she's a superstar in the hobbies, right? But at the same time, she still makes out time to read all these books and write reviews on her blog. At the same time, she's just efficient in short. A million and one things. And I think that like I said, she was more vulnerable in the bookshop.
You see her business like the book.
Even though that she wasn't in real life, right? So what you can do is if you don't have a relationship parent, you can't mention my name. Or you don't know her, you can't mention the both. But what she has done is to condense the values and the things that make her herself that made her achieve the things that she has achieved. And if you go to her website, you see the things that she has done and when accomplished.
Why you hear people say, do they have 2 F's? What?
She was like thing that they may have 3 ends, right? So I think just for the quality of a person speaks, and you find that quality translated into the book. So that's my reason for selling to buy the book.
All right. Thank you so much. Before I really start shedding tears, still with this continuing. All right. It's a pleasure having you. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Thank you.